wanted to share a little of my background. Started when I was 5 years old. I had a raggedy little mutt named Goliath who would attack anything, including bus tires. And one day my mother got a phone call telling me that Goliath had been run over by a bus, and she had to tell me. So she turned to me with tears in her eyes and informed me that my dog was dead. And I looked back, and my first thought was, so what, it's a dog. And I couldn't figure out why my mom was upset over a dog. As the years went by, people started dying, family and friends, and I always had the same reaction. So what, they're just people. People die every day. Why do you care about these ones? Years later, many years later, psychiatrists would give me a piece of paper saying that I'm a sociopath, but I didn't know any of this back then. I had violent urges as long as I can remember. Usually if someone would annoy me or upset me, I would have just an extreme desire to take them out into the woods or something and torture them. But I resisted this urge because I was told you have to resist these kind of, it's like a smoker who gets on an airplane. You have the urge to smoke, but you're not allowed to smoke, and so just keep it to yourself. And so I would keep things to myself. Occasionally I would get called to the school counselor's office. David, why did you draw a picture of you killing all your classmates? Well, it's only a picture. It's not like I'm doing anything, right? As I entered my late teens, I had already figured out that I don't have to listen to what people tell me. I don't have to listen to what society tells me. I can do whatever I want, and that I'd been duped. So I started just doing whatever I felt like doing. Sitting beside one of my friends on the couch watching TV one day, and he grabbed the remote control out of my hand, and I just turned and punched him in his face. And I didn't feel bad about it. I felt like I was finally being myself and not holding back. A while after that, I got into an argument with my best friend at the time, and I hit him with a shovel and started choking him. And I just remember smiling in his face as his eyes rolled back in his head and bloody foam came out of his mouth. It was Thanksgiving Day of 1994. I hit my dad in the head with a hammer 7 or 8 times. So I ended up in a couple of jails, a couple of mental hospitals, and a few prisons. It was 1995, and I was in a mental hospital, and it was the day of the O.J. Simpson verdict. And all the crazy people were arguing about O.J. Simpson, and some were saying he didn't do it, and so he should go free. Others were saying he did do it, so he should go to prison. And I offered a third option. I just blurted out, hey, I hope he did do it, and I hope he gets away with it. And this guard heard me, and he starts yelling at me, going, that's sick, that's sick. And couldn't figure out why this guy cared at all about some woman being murdered. A few weeks after that, I was talking to one of the administrators there at the hospital, and he was asking me about my views, and he eventually just stopped me and said, very calmly, if you don't see why that's wrong, then they have got you in the right place. This was several months later, and I was in a jail dorm making fun of a Christian named Randy, a guy who turned himself in for 21 felonies. This guy was very interesting. There'd be a fight in the dorm, and he wouldn't watch. He'd turn away and start praying for it to stop. This guy made me so mad that I started studying Christianity in order to refute what he was saying. And it was April of the following year that I became a Christian. The moment I became a Christian, ever since then, I've never had any desire to hurt anyone. But I still wasn't a very nice individual, and I considered myself after that, I considered myself a horrible individual because of the things I'd done. A few years went by, and there was a fight in the prison I was at, and I broke up the fight, and I dragged one of the guys away to keep them separated. And the next day, I was walking, and the other guy who was in the fight stopped me, and he said, Wood, I don't mean to get in your business, but some of us were wondering what you did to get in here. We're thinking maybe someone disrespected your girlfriend and you defended her and hit him too hard and you got locked up for that. But we can't understand how someone like you could ever end up in a place like this. And all of a sudden I was thinking, wait, you guys think I'm nice? You guys think I'm good? This is a couple years ago, people were telling me that I'm sick and that I need to stay in a mental hospital. And now you guys think that the only reason I could ever get locked up is by defending a woman's honor? It sounded strange. But some sort of change had taken place in that time period. And what's interesting is that this sort of change has been going on for the past 2,000 years in Christianity.